Many women gather the food that they need to cook for their families. Along with cooking, they took care of children, washed the clothing for families, and sewed clothes for the soldiers in war. Some women even smuggled goods for the soldiers and spied for their side of war, either for Union or Confederate States. If the women were courageous enough, they disguised themselves as men and fought in the war. They fought against men that were tougher than them and battled for their lives. During the war, women volunteered to help heal and take care of the hurt, sick, or wounded soldiers. The women wrote diaries explaining their experiences during the war. The diaries were also written to their loved ones. The war was a tough time for women. It's written all over your face. Baby, I can feel your halo. Pray it won't fade. Do your halo, halo. You see your halo, halo. Your halo, halo. You see your halo, halo. Hit me like a ray of sun, burning through my. Since there were no grocery stores like there are today, women had to go out and gather their own food. Women had to take responsibility and also do the work that the men usually did if they were in war. The weather conditions they had to work in were either very hot or very cold. Women took the meat and fish that was caught and cooked them. The women made homemade meals for their family.
Now that the fried chicken is done, we have to make the cake. This is really good. The cake is so soft.
Women also had the responsibility of taking care of the children. Taking care of children was challenging because the women also had other responsibilities such as various jobs, both for money and around the house.
I have so much to do today. I have to make dinner, make clothes, and take care of the children.
Well, I have to go to work and I have to take care of my children.
Women had many household responsibilities such as washing clothes. Women did not have the advantage to use electric washing machines. According to the Union Handbook, only women of good character were allowed to be laundresses. Laundresses were usually wives of soldiers or generals. Laundresses were paid by deducting wages from soldiers' income, and the soldiers had to often pay a fee for relatives visiting. Laundresses were given a tent, rations, a hatchet, and many other items. Laundresses could also bring their children, dogs, and cribs into camp. Doing laundry for the soldiers was a 3 to 4 day process that took a procedure of 10 steps. The life of a laundress was hard, but it gave a woman a chance to take action in the war. Women had to clean up after the men. There were no maids, so they had to be the ones to clean up after their children and their spouses.
We have to finish cleaning up the rest of supper.
The women were the ones who always had to clean up and didn't have a choice whether they wanted to do it or not because they didn't have slaves to do the work for them, like the South did.
Since the North didn't allow slavery, the women had to do all the housework. The women in the South, on the other hand, though, had the slaves clean and cook for them.
I am so tired, but I need my house to be sparkly clean. Cleaning up after the kids is very hard work. To me, cleaning is the best way to pass by the time as I wait for the war to end. While my husband is fighting in the war, I get very sad and clean to not think about his absence.
My life is so easy with these slave women cleaning my house for me. I'm so glad slavery hasn't been abolished, or else I would have to do the hard work of cleaning my house myself.
Most of the women women, though, had tough jobs like staying at home, watching the kids, and cleaning up after their messes.
Women also encountered dangers. One danger was smuggling in goods for the soldiers.
They had to steal items such as ammunition, weapons, and morphine. They would steal the items in clothes and dolls.
Come on, we have to hurry, they might catch us.
What did you take?
I took money, weapons, and ammo.
Guys, we better hurry. They might catch us.
Some women might have faced some consequences for what they took. Women were brave enough to steal for friends and family. This showed women's potential. Many women would listen in on conversations or hide to find out information about the armies or their side's enemies.
Belle Boyd, a Confederate spy, described her experiences in a journal. I felt convinced that to rouse a servant or make any disturbance at that hour would excite the suspicions of the Federals by whom I was surrounded. Accordingly, I went straight to the stables myself, saddled my horse, and galloped away in the direction of the mountains. Fortunately, I had about me some passes which I had from time to time procured for Confederate soldiers returning south, and which, owing to various circumstances, had never been put in requisition. They now, however, proved invaluable, for I was twice brought to a standstill by the challenge of the Federal sentries, and who would inevitably have put a period to my adventurous career had they not been beguiled by my false passport.
General Grant told us to sneak up behind them and attack them by surprise.
We heard that. We can go back and tell General Lee and help the army.
But let's go before someone finds us and puts us in jail.
If women were caught spying, they were either warned or punished by being arrested. For example, Belle Boyd was captured many times, but escaped all of her arrests except one.
Women wanted to be spies because of either disliking the Confederate States or loyalty to their own side. Harriet Tubman, along with other black women, did not like Confederate States because they wanted slavery not to be abolished, so they helped spy for the Union States. So many women wanted to help spy for loyalty and irritation of other side that some even disguised themselves as men and went into war. Since women were not allowed to fight in war, they disguised themselves as men and pretended to be men to fight in the war. Women often put on wigs and fake mustaches. It was unusual for the men to find out some of their fellow soldiers were really women, but if they did find out, they kept fighting as there was no difference. Some women also went into war because they wanted to be near their loved ones. They couldn't stand being away from their husbands for too long and wanted to be with them during battle.
It has long been said that women don't know anything about war. I wish men didn't either. They have always known a great deal too much about it for the good of their kind.
If I were a boy, even just for a day, I'd roll out a
Ready! Aim! Fire!
The women were not scared of the battles and were tough just like the men were.
Not only did soldiers die, but they also died from diseases coming from contaminated water and food. It usually led to diarrhea.
Ready! Aim! Fire!
Everyone, be prepared for shots to return!
Many people are now dead or on the ground.
Look, he's down, but he doesn't seem to have a bullet through him. Does anyone know what has happened to him? Maybe he was damaged by the bad food or water we live off of. Poor fellow. Although we have no time for sorrow, let's load up our guns and fight for victory.
No time for bickering. Let's start hiding and preparing ourselves. Excuse me, you over there.
Me?
Yes, you. I can see that you're not a man. First of all, your hair is falling out of your hat, and second of all, you're having a hard time keeping up with us men. Get out of here!
Okay, farewell everyone.
During the war, many people were wounded and limbs fell off. The women volunteered to help care and nurse the wounded soldiers.
The women often volunteered and didn't work for any money. Mrs. M.J. Boston once said to the surgeon she was working under, "I do not want any pay for my services. I only try to do all I can for the soldiers.
I'm blasted by a can, my arm's dangling. I need help now, please.
Come over here and lay down. I'll put some medicine on it quickly and we'll have to remove the arm.
Here, I have the tools. Let's get started.
The women had gruesome jobs working as a nurse because they had to see the bloody wounds up close, but the women didn't mind and volunteered anyway.
Women who nursed were usually brave Victorian women who were determined.
These women were some of the first courageous women in America.
Thank you.
Some women wrote daily diary entries discussing their daily routine or their opinions of the Civil War.
Women like Sally Steeper Scott and Mary Ahurst discussing what they had been experiencing.
April the 16th. Good morning, my dear friend. This is quite a pleasant morning. I almost forgot to tell you that I got a letter about 2 weeks ago forwarded from President A. Lincoln, but the next one he sends to me, he had better not get you to write it, and I won't be so sure to know that it came from you, my dearest friend, only lover, and loving Bob. Well, I think I'll have to draw my letter to a close for the present time by telling you to write soon, all at present, from your kind friend Sally S. Scott to Robert Barnett. You said that you want me to send you a stamp, or that's what I took it to be from the way you had spelled it. I have it in a 3-cent one, but I will send you all the 1-cent ones that I have at this time. I forgot the old horse. He is doing well, only there is something wrong with his neck, so he can't put his head down to drink. Sally, from Sally Steeper, Robert James, write soon.
Since women's husbands were off fighting in battle, they often treated their diaries as people they could talk to about their problems.
Many women wrote in their diaries during the Civil War, and many are still preserved and in museums today.
These diaries were the first step of women evaluating their own opinions, and there are many famous references towards them.
Girls run the world, girls who 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 run the world.
Wow, thank God we heard that. We can go back and tell General Lee and help the army. Thank God we heard that. We can go back and tell General Lee and we can help the army.
Onward, horsey!
Hand in my arms.
Allie!
Allie!